Welcome to my channel and this video. I thought I would say a bit more about my experience of an eating disorder because it's not something I've really discussed in any detail on my channel. And I also have a pretty big announcement to make. And no, still single, still barren, still not a millionaire. My name is Kaz. I have never actually said on my channel what my age is. I like to create the illusion that I might be a little bit younger than I actually am. But in order for you guys to know whether or not you can relate to me, I think it's important that I tell you I'm 41. Yeah, in case you didn't catch that mumbling. 41. I've said it. I'm not saying it again. That's it. I have had an eating disorder for the majority of my life. My official label is anorexic binge purge subtype. That means I binge and I purge. You might be thinking, okay, but you make food videos where you eat lots of chocolate, cakes, donuts, but you binge and purge? Does that mean you are binging and purging? No, would be the short answer to that. I do not binge on camera. I never have, and I'm pretty sure I never will. It's a behaviour I carry an awful lot of shame about. And that's something I'm not going to discuss right now in any depth. But when I do my big announcement, you'll understand why. Everything I eat on camera, I eat, especially in the Eat With Me videos. I think it is crucially important in those videos that I am being honest and I am actually eating the food that I claim to be eating, because if I didn't, I would be the biggest hypocrite. And that is not something I want to be. It would not sit comfortably with me to do that. So while I don't binge and purge when I'm making the videos, it doesn't mean there haven't been times when I have then gone on maybe later that day or the next day or even a few days after, depending what it is, to binge and purge on food that is left over from making those videos. But I make them because I have a lot of fun making them. And it has made me try, or made me make myself try, so many things I would never, ever have gone for if I wasn't making YouTube videos. So, although I have an eating disorder and a lot of that is an obsession with food, that is not what is behind my motivation for having a food-related channel. Well, me loves baking, loves eating, loves food, really. So that's why I've got the channel. But it is also to show that you can have an eating disorder and you can eat these foods and it's not going to be the end of the world. If you have watched any of my taste test and food review content, you may have noticed that quite a lot of the time I cut most of the chewing and swallowing. I don't do it in the Eat With Me videos. I think it's important in those ones to actually see me chewing and swallowing the food, but I mute the volume and then do a voice over it, so it's not just silence while I'm eating. But the reason that I do cut it, there are 3 reasons actually that I cut it from my main videos. The first one is it does cut down on the length of the video, and I would rather that if my video is 25 minutes long, the majority of that is me interacting with you guys and not just chewing and swallowing food. The second reason is I have had people with misophonia tell me how distasteful they find eating noises. Now, My question back to them would be, well, why are you watching a food video if you don't like eating noises? I'm human, and like every single human, I make noise when I eat, especially if it's something like a bag of crisps or if I'm biting into an apple. There's going to be a crunch. And personally, if I'm watching a food video and somebody bites into crisps and there's no crunch, I just find that a little bit weird. So I do leave some of those noises in, but I do tend to cut the rest of the eating sounds because I know it does put some people off. And I'm also kind of self-conscious about it, especially since people have brought it up. So yeah, I'm trying to think what the third reason was because I've forgotten. Okay, those are the two reasons that I cut it from most of my videos. I hope that that clears up any questions you might have over the authenticity of my videos, but if it doesn't, drop me a comment in the box below or even send me a DM. I am currently in recovery. I do have a local mental health team. I see them once a fortnight for an hour, but coverage has been patchy with the pandemic and people potentially thinking they might have COVID and having to be off and things like that. So most of the work that I'm doing, I am doing by myself. And that's why I want to share my experiences with you guys. I find being the age I am and trying to recover more or less without any real support, it's really hard. And I know there must be so many people in the same position out there. And if anything good can come from my having this illness, I'm not going to say it would make it worth having. Nothing makes an eating disorder worth having, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. I hope you do anyway. So that is kind of a very brief overview of my current situation. So I guess now it's time for the big announcement. I was planning to take a week or two off after filming all my Easter content, partly because it was really, really intense doing it, but also because I've had a new project that I've been planning for quite some time. However, I caught a cold and that really stalled everything. I have decided I am going to start a podcast. I sounded awful. I was coughing and sneezing and blowing my nose all the time. So there was absolutely no way I could record anything that would be worth putting out there into the world. So I have had a bit of a delay in actually getting started with doing the recordings. This podcast is called My Chaotic Mind, and it's going to be half-hour-long episodes where I talk about my experiences having an eating disorder and being, I want to say an older adult, but I make myself sound like a pensioner. But, you know, I'm not in my teens, I'm not in my 20s. That's kind of the angle I'm going for. That's the reason I haven't gone into really great detail about myself and my current situation, because my first full episode is actually going to be on that subject. Now, I'm not saying you guys have to listen to it, because of course you don't. If it's something you want to listen to and you think might help you, fantastic. If not, absolutely fine. I am still going to be doing videos like this on YouTube. They're not going to just be a regurgitation of the podcast episodes. I do have an Instagram and email account already set up for the podcast. It won't actually go live until Tuesday, May the 3rd at 5:02 in the morning, because I Googled the best time to release a podcast episode and Google said 5 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. I picked 5:02 because I have a thing about equal numbers. It's not anything like OCD. I just really like things in pairs. Don't know why, I just do. So 502 every fortnight. Now, the first episode is actually coming out the week after the trailer because I didn't want to do a trailer and then leave it a fortnight before the first episode came out. My plan is to do one series, and that series will have 6 episodes in it. Then I'll maybe take a bit of a break for maybe 4 weeks and then do a second series of another 6 episodes. And the reason that I'm doing that is because it's so intense. I've recorded my first episode and it took me all day, literally. Part of that is because I was figuring out how the hell to work the editing software. I'm now down with that, which is great. But just the things that I'm talking about and saying in it, it's really hard and it's very tiring physically and emotionally, especially because I do still have a bit of the cold hanging over me, even though I've had it now for over 2 weeks. The Instagram, I'm not going to say it because you might mishear it. So I'm going to put it on the screen. The Instagram account for the podcast, you can follow it if you want to. I haven't posted anything on it as yet, but I did want to have it all set up and good to go. And there's also an email address. The reason I'm telling you guys this is because if there is anything you want to say after listening to any of the episodes or an experience that you would like to share, I want you to feel able to send me an email or a DM. I can read it out on the podcast. If you want to send me a voice message, the best way to do that would be record it, obviously, and send it via email. And I would be able to put your voice into the actual podcast. I'm not expecting anyone to actually want to do this, but I want you to know that if you're someone who has an experience or an opinion that you feel really passionate about or you really want to share, the offer is there, and this offer has no time limit on it. I will keep anyone who contacts me in this way completely anonymous unless you want to have your name attached to it. And if anyone watching this thinks, actually, I would quite like to take part in a podcast episode, let me know, because I haven't planned them that far in advance and I want to cover lots of different experiences. I'm one person with one experience and one perspective. It would be nice to get other people's views in there as well. But this YouTube video is not me plugging my podcast or begging you to get involved with it. I'm just letting you know it is coming. And you are the first guys, apart from my bestie and my parents, to know about this. My parents will be listening to the podcast, so it's quite possible there will be things I'll talk about in these videos that I won't mention on the podcast, because there are some things you just don't want your mum and dad to know. I have already submitted the podcast to Amazon. I'm in the process of trying to submit it to Apple and Spotify, but you might not be able to get it on those 2 platforms until the trailer actually goes live. So I'm just letting you know that in case you do go looking for it and you can't find it. I'm not expecting this to get a massive following. I'm expecting it to be pretty much like my YouTube channel. It's a very niche subject. It's not going to have that many people listening. If I get 10 listeners, I'll be happy. I know I'm going to have at least 2. So I have been rambling on for way too long. And if you're still watching, thank you. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Please do feel free to share this video within any eating disorder communities you may be part of, or with anyone you know who has an eating disorder who may find this video useful. I'm not making it public when it first goes live. I'm just not ready to go that public with my mental health issues at the moment. But I am absolutely happy for anyone and everyone with an eating disorder to see this. So you don't need to ask permission if you want to share it. Just go ahead and do it. To be honest, I don't think I've really said anything helpful in this video, but who knows? There you go. You are the only people who know this for now. So yeah, I hope you don't mind me trusting you with my little secret. I'm going to shut up now. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I do hope you will come back for the next video. Until then, bye.